So I have a new project called Student Roster, and in there I'm going to put these 1, 2, 3 classes. The fourth file shows you what your output's going to look like when you run it. So here's the first class called Student Roster Tester, or Class Roster Tester. I'll Control C that and put that in BlueJ. Control A, Control V. That won't compile yet because I don't have the 2 classes it needs to support it. Okay, so here's my student class. That should compile, and that does compile with no errors. And then the class called ClassRoster. Put that in BlueJ. Compile that. That compiles, and now even the tester should compile because the class is supported. Okay, so let's see what a student is. Let's look at the student class. A student is a name, a grade level. It's an int grade level, so it's like 10 for sophomore, 11 for junior, 12 for senior. And class average, which is their grade average. Like they might have a 91 average if they're an A student, or an 81 average if they're a B+ student, and so on. So that's the 3 qualities of a student in the instance fields. The constructor's job is to grab values for the instance fields and initialize them. Then we have 3 accessor methods. Remember that term, accessor methods? They're all get methods that let us get the private values above, and then a toString method to nicely display a student. And again, the confusion sometimes is that a student is just a name. No, a student is not just a name. A student is an object that includes a name, a grade level, and a class average. Okay. The tester. Let's see what's in the tester. The tester makes an array of type student and puts some students in there. Looks like there's what, 12 students in that array there. And then there's the second array down below with 10 students, I believe. Okay. And then we use those student arrays to construct our class rosters. There's one called first period and one called second period. So we give it the array of type student. We give it 4 and 3. What is 4 and 3? You can probably guess what 4 and 3 is. 4 is the number of rows for our seating chart, and 3 is the number of columns. So we have 12 students in the first one going into 12 spots in a matrix. The second one is far more interesting. We have 10 students going into 12 spots. So we'll have 2 empty spots in our matrix. We'll have to talk about that quite a bit. Finally, let's go ahead and start looking at class roster tester. That's where all the work needs to be done. I'm sorry, not class roster tester, but class roster. Let's look at class roster where all the work needs to be done. We've got one instance field, which is a matrix of type student, and it's private, like on the AP exam. And our job is to start filling in these constructors and methods. Here's a constructor. We're going to count the number of A students. We're going to find the student in the class who has the highest average. We're going to see what the most common grade level in our class is. Are there more sophomores than juniors and seniors, or more juniors or more seniors? And we're going to find out if any students are failing. And the toString is already done for us. Okay. So the job of any constructor is to initialize, complete the instantiation of the instance field. So we'll be saying seating chart equals something down below here. Okay. It's going to be equal to a new matrix, type student, with rows by columns, rows and columns. So we're not going to say new int for the first time. We're going to say new student. We'll have rows, rows, and calls, calls. Now we have to put the students that are in this roster into the matrix called seating chart. So we do our usual nested loop. I hope you know it by now. It has not changed since Tuesday morning. So this is our constructor. We're going to fill up the matrix with all the students that are in the roster. Okay. I'll make a mistake on purpose here and see what happens. We're going to say seating chart equals. Well, I really can't even make a mistake. Well, maybe I can. We have to grab the kids that are in the roster one at a time and put them in the seating chart. Well, we want to grab the kid at position 0 the first time and put him at position 0, 0. Then grab the kid at position 1 and put her at position 0, 1, and so on. So we need to know what position of the roster to access and store. So I'll make a position variable, start off at 0, put POS as the position, the index position, and then go POS plus plus, make it go the next one. But I think you see what's going to happen here, right? Are you awake? You see what's going to happen if I do that? In my second list of students, I have 10 students, but I have 12 positions in the matrix. It's 3 by 4. Do you see the problem? I'm going out of bounds in my array because the 11th and 12th positions of my matrix want somebody to be put in there. So we're going to position, I guess, 10 and 11 here, or whatever it is, out of bounds. So we got to make sure that our position is not out of bounds of the array. Would you have seen that yourself? AP Exam does their best to test if you know you shouldn't go out of bounds. And now it runs fine. You see the students are now in a 4x3 Seaton chart for period 1. Bob and Jane and Tim and their grade levels and grades. And then for period 2, it's a what? It's a 3x4 Seaton chart with 2 open seats at the end. Make sure yours runs.